characters. So a snake, you can play it to the game a little bit, but just understand when you stop playing the game, that's when they're gonna follow you. Like, but you have to play it a little bit for them to really get a chance to realize what it's like to really work with you, right? A chameleon, they're naturally gonna follow you. Just be courteous to them.
All right, fire them up! We go live and fire. It's time for ignition and straight up automobile pimp.
What's good, YouTube? This IQ Domino coming back at y'all with another motherfucking banger of a video. Now today, we're gonna be going over the mask that people wear, the manipulative characters that people wear. It's not really manipulation, it's just what mask they wear. So in some shape or form of fashion, it's a way that people decide to manipulate themselves. So it's gonna be an interesting video. If it's insightful in any kind of way, leave a like down below. With that being said, let's get into it. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna break down the character, the good side, the bad side, and the way you should position yourself, you know, if you are around this type of character, right? So with that being said, we're gonna start off with the snake. All right, the snake is a very manipulative, powerful, tactical character. They live their life through power most of the time because, you know, for whatever reason, but their whole point is that they like to lie and deceive and tell half truths to get what they want out of life. So for example, if I want something, right, I want something from somebody, and I decide to tell them, I know at the end of the day, if they know the full story to something, they might not like the fact that they might not like the full story. So I tell them half the story, and then it's a way of them giving me what I want. For example, let's say I stole some candy, right? Let's say I stole some candy, and then when my aunt asks me where I got the candy from, and I'd be like, well, I got it from the store. Initially, that's a half truth. Now that's a little innocent, but for the sake of occasion, being manipulative, that's just an example that they do that in a tactical way with everything, right? In relationships, they are power hungry, so they like to do a lot of things for the sake of feeling like they have a sense of control of certain situations. They like to be very controlling, you know what I'm saying? So when certain people live this way, of course they get titled narcissists, sociopaths, and things of that nature, but at the end of the day, these people are very, 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 very powerful individuals when they come down to using their communicational skills, because honestly, you can never trust them. Now, the downside of that, right, of having individuals like that, or if you are that type of individual, is that nobody really know you. You know what I'm saying? Nobody really trusts you. Like, people only fuck with you for what they can get from you. They don't really fuck with you for you. With that being said, that's the downside. You know what I'm saying? So if I'm hanging out with a guy and I know that he always gonna tell me half of the story, or I know he only gonna move to get his own benefit out of the situation, or if you had a friend like that, you know, that only wants to get things from you, who you can't really trust when they tell you shit, you like, I don't know if he lying or not. You know, that's the downside of being that type of character. Now, the only way to really, let's say you're a person who want to stop being that character, the only way you can stop being that character if you decide to just completely let go of all your power, because it's really a sense of power, a sense of control. If you let go of all control over other people, or a sense of control over other people, you'll begin to have more control over yourself, giving you a newfound power over people, because you no longer relying on them. It turns to them relying on you. You know what I'm saying? It's not like a trade for trade. It's just because you are who you are, people will fuck with you, or, you know, follow behind you just because you are a type of individual that can get their own power from themselves and force their way through things by being themselves. For example, let's say we walk up to a security guard, right? And I run to the security guard and he's like, hey, yo, y'all can't get in. Now, a snake might be like, well, you know, I know your boss, without really knowing their boss. I know your boss, and I can really get you to lose your job if you don't understand that I'm one of the most wealthiest motherfuckers in the city. And now you're gonna mess up one of the best prospects because you lacking in your job. You don't understand the people who's supposed to go in and out of your job. You gonna let this happen? As a matter of fact, if he really letting his employees be this blind working for him, I don't even think it's necessary for me to even want to give him any of my business. You know, moving like that, it's just an example, but moving like that to get the person to really think like, oh damn, like he really is a person that like this, and now I'm about to fuck up business for my boss. So a snake will move like that versus somebody that just keep it real. Hey man, listen, I understand you got a lot of things going on. Like, I'm probably sure, I know nobody like working security. I worked security before. Shit, I know you got people dealing with bullshit all day. So listen, you know what I'm saying? I won't be here too long. I won't cause no trouble. I'll go in and out. And at the end of the night, I promise you, I'll do what I can. I send a girl your way. Every girl I get, I send them your way. You know what I'm saying? So it's a whole different kind of type of movement when it comes down to being real, because I'm relying on my skills. I'm relying on who I am. At the end of the day, they can decide to trust it or not, and I can still decide, like, hey man, I got $20, just let me in. Or I'll pay you on the side, let me in. Or, you know, things like that, working the system. But a cage does not really rely on working the system. A cage works the system in a different way, in like a real life breaking the rules, violating all the rules of like the norm way. You know, that's how they are. They're very manipulative. So although it's kind of cool to have somebody like this as a friend, it's not, because at the same time you can't trust them. But they are beneficial. They do have the benefits. Like I said, they are good at doing what they do. They're very powerful individuals. But the only thing you can really do is use them. You know what I'm saying? This is their whole point of their whole existence. So you got to keep that shit in mind. Like, this is a snake. This is a snake. So when you're positioning yourself around these people, you just got to understand that you can't fully trust them. You have to move a certain way around them. But I want you to understand that they're always going to want a sense of control over you. So you got to be very strategic when you hang around with these motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's better to, I'm gonna always say this throughout this video, is that it's better to understand who you're around, you know, so you'll be able to adapt and be able to get the most out of situations, and not know, and basically not get nothing out of the situation. You feel me? So I want y'all to fully understand, man, that y'all need to really understand that a snake, although they're powerful, although it's a benefit to having them around, because they still are very powerful people, are very skillful people, it's just not real. It's a manipulation tactics that they use. But understand that you can't give them too much information, because, or you can't put them in a position where they can't backstab you, because it's a high chance that they will, even if they are a good friend of yours. If it's a situation that suits them, depending on their principles as well, but it's a good chance if their principles aren't aligned with you, or you aren't really aligned to what they want out of an end goal, then I ain't gonna lie, bro, it's easy for you to get stepped on. So that's that, man. That's the snake. On to the next motherfucker, man. If you like this type of content so far, leave a like down below and subscribe, because I drop bangers like this all the time. Let's go. I do want y'all to understand this, though. Even though the snakes are very powerful individuals, it's not real. When I say it's not real, this is what I mean. When you actually talk to them, right, and you get to know them as people, a lot of times cages and snakes are what you find out is that they're very scared individuals. They just need a sense of power to feel comfortable, to feel safe. So whenever you decide to play into their game of power, a lot of times when you go, let's say I go tat for tat, they do something for you, you do something for them. They do something for you, you do something for them. They do something for you, you do something for them. The moment they do something for you and you just pull away, they're gonna be willing to do things for you for a very long time, because of that sense of scarcity, especially when you're a type of motherfucker that keep it real all the time. Because cages are so used to manipulating and trying to deceive people, that when they actually get somebody to connect with them and actually kind of understand them in a way without judging them, they really open up a lot. So when they open up and they see that you can do that, on top of you being this type of character, which I'm naturally am, but whenever you are this type of person, and then, you know what I'm saying, they actually try to play that game with you, and then you pull away, they gonna want to follow you. They're not gonna understand why, but it's just like they gonna want to follow you. You know what I'm saying? So keep that in mind whenever you actually are talking to a snake. Even though they are manipulative, they can be good assets. I'll be honest. I'm just being honest. But I want y'all to understand that the reason why cages are cages is that snakes are snakes. Is that they try to play a role of they can lie and deceive because they don't really trust themselves to get things without lying. So that's the downside of a cage being a cage. But you gotta understand that that's how they look at you too, because how they look at themselves is the same way how they gonna look at the world. They don't think that they are necessarily worthy to be around you a lot of the times. Just all the simple fact, while being themselves, having a regular conversation, because they don't really rely on themselves. You know what I'm saying? Have a regular conversation, or to do things just normal shit. They don't think they're worthy of that kind of shit. So you gotta keep that in mind, man. This is how cages move, snakes move, and be wary, man. Be wary. To the second motherfucking character, which is the chameleon, man. Now, the chameleon is the type of motherfucker that's in the name. He changes to fit into any situation. Now, for example, let's say we go to a gathering, and let's just say I meet a guy, right? And we at this festival, and I travel around this festival with this motherfucker, and he go in this group and he act one way. He go up this group, act one way, go up this group, act one way, go up this group, act one way, right? Now, all these groups, they be like, man, I like him. He's a cool guy. He's a nice guy. You know what I'm saying? He's a good guy. And then they meet me, same group. A motherfuckers will be like, man, I fucking love this dude. He hilarious, man. He cool. Man, he's an asshole, man. He a dickhead. I don't know. He alright. There's something about him, man. I fuck with him. Whole different kind of, substance. I don't like this nigga. I don't like him. Different things, because at the end of the day, I'm keeping it real, right? I always keep it real. I'm being me. No matter what setting I'm in, no matter what group I go to, I'm being me. Love me or hate me. With him, the altar, they like him, but they don't really know who he really is. You know what I'm saying? Because he's so busy changing forms and changing who he is to fit in, that it's to a point where, yeah, he can fit in anywhere. Yeah, he can do wherever he want to go, but they're not going to always like that individual, because that individual doesn't really understand and doesn't really rely on themselves, or don't know themselves well enough to know that they're okay with being themselves all the time. You know what I'm saying? It's levels to knowing yourself, self-knowledge, and the chameleon only knows themselves well enough to fit into certain situations. You know what I'm saying? They don't really rely on themselves or who they are and just adapt to people. Nah, they completely change themselves off of who they think that they should be. They gonna always be what they think they should be. The downside of being that character is that not only people don't know who you really are, one, and two, is that you don't really know if people fuck with you for who you really are. It's always gonna be a thought in the back of your mind, like, oh man, do they really fuck with me for me? Or same thing with the cage. I mean, the snake, is that they fuck with him for he also thinks that they only fuck with me because they can get this from me. You know what I'm saying? It's different things where a chameleon doesn't think that anybody really knows who he really is, and that's kind of like a down bad way to go about things, but that's the way that they choose. We choose our own life. It's the life they chose. So but I don't really. There are multiple reasons of why that could be the case, but overall, if you ask me, I would say that they just don't really know who they are, right? And they don't trust themselves, or they are so reliant upon other people's opinion that it controls them it drives them to be something that they're not. You know what I'm saying? Which is whatever they gotta be to be like. You know what I'm saying? It's a bad way to live in my book. Always will be a bad way to live, but like I said, it's the way that they choose, right? So when you positioning yourself around this character, you need to understand that, of course, they're gonna always be there for moral support, but they're not gonna really be there when it comes down to you needing to hear real advice. You know what I'm saying? This type of individual is not the individual that you need to go to when it comes down to them actually identifying if you have something credible or not. All right, for example, this YouTube thing. I got my friends. I ain't got no friends that wouldn't keep it real with me. But let's just say this. For example, let's say I got a acquaintance, right? And whenever I go to him, he's never honest. He tells me what he thinks I want to hear, and I can tell he tells me what he thinks that I want to hear. To me, it's bullshit. Of course, it's bullshit. But at the end of the day, the motherfucker's always going to be moral support and always going to try to be there or make it seem like they're trying to be there for the sake of me wanting to not be mad at them. That's who this kind of person is, you know what I'm saying? That's a chameleon, Now, at the end of the day, I always say, some people are just not meant to be around for the long run. If you're the type of individual who likes moral support, who likes to You know, when they doing something good, cool. Or they like to keep people around when they just for the good energy or having good energy, cool. Because the thing about this person is that they gonna connect you and align you with a lot of people, but necessarily it's gonna be cases where just off you being real, that there gonna be cases where certain people like you more than they like them because you always keep it real. You got a unique personality, especially if you're in the lab for real. You got an authentic personality. So it's like, damn, not everybody really gonna fuck with you. I mean, everybody gonna fuck with you for you, and the people who don't fuck with you, they just don't fuck with you, whatever, fuck them. But at the end of the day, they lay out the opportunity for that to happen a lot of times because they're chameleons. So when they're chameleons, they get to fit into a whole bunch of groups. This kind of person is good to have around it when it comes down to just networking, bro. They are the best networkers. The same way how a cage is very powerful in getting resources, the chameleon is powerful when it comes down to building connections, because let's just be honest, they're gonna do whatever they gotta do to be liked. So even though they're not gonna always be able to take full advantage of their connections because of who they are, it's a way that they program themselves to move in the world. But at the end of the day, they are very useful when it comes down to networking. I promise you, they take care of half the work. So if you want to keep that in mind, man, that's how the best way to position yourself with a chameleon is to just simply befriend them, be cool with them, but understand that this is not the person that needs to give you real advice. That you need to give you real advice. It's not that person. All right, so I want y'all to keep this in mind, man. This is the chameleon. And last but not fucking least, all right, is the carpet. Now, the carpet is somebody, is in the name. You're somebody that get walked on. You're just a doormat, the person that gets stepped on a lot. Now, before I even get into that, the best way to stop being a chameleon is to understand that you can be honest. Just be honest. You being honest is like the first step of you stop being a chameleon. If you tell your honest opinion on things, you will stop being a chameleon. You know what I'm saying? Because you will learn how to keep it real. And also, whenever you are by yourself, it's best for you to go to the extreme when it comes down to you understanding yourself. I always talk about understanding, but I'm telling y'all, it is a big ass key. Now, with the carpet, it's a person that gets stepped on, it's a person that get walked all over. So I want y'all to understand that this is somebody that's constantly trying to uplift you, somebody who is constantly trying to prove themselves to you and constantly trying to, you know, boost you up so they can get validation from you. You know what I'm saying? Like, because that's honestly who they are. They people who get stepped on, bro. They're the easiest to step on. Like, they put themselves in perfect position to get stepped on continuously. So, for example, you hear guys say simp all the time. A simp is somebody who gives somebody so much power. It's the same thing, honestly. It's somebody who gives somebody so much power that they are literally positioning themselves to get fucked over continuously, bro. So somebody continuously getting stepped on and continuously getting used and abused, and they're not getting anything in return, this is a doormat. You're somebody who continuously does good for other people and nobody does good for you. You know what I'm saying? You continuously helpful towards other people and nobody's helpful towards you. Alright, so it's like, by you being this individual, you gotta understand you are somebody who gets stepped on constantly. The downside of that, of course, is that you don't value yourself. Nobody truly values you, even though you get everybody continuous things, which I always will say, carpets are usually some of the most powerful positioned people. I mean, you will be very surprised how, and I think y'all kind of very aware, especially if you ain't new to the lab, it's just insight, something good to hear for you to hear. You know that there's a character around you that is very powerful or in a position of like a lot of power, but they don't think they are. They don't look at themselves like they are. So they get stepped on a lot. You know what I'm saying? Like, they get used a lot. They get overused a good bit of the time. For example, one of the guys that I knew in the military, man, this dude was so fucking nice to everybody, bro. So useful to everybody. Always down to help you. Always down to give you advice. Always. He would even help you to the point where he would do damn near all the work, and all you had to do was just make a phone call. He'll do all the work, and all you had to do was just, you know, show up. Because he was that kind of guy who would just do everything for you, no matter what. But the thing about this guy is, he was connected to everybody in the unit. Everybody knowing him. Everybody, they didn't really respect him. Everybody didn't respect him. But he was always in the rooms with the right people at all times. And whenever he was frustrated or whenever he was upset, he got whatever he wanted whenever he wanted. But the thing is this. He would get used so much, it'd be to a point where you wouldn't even think he had that kind of power. You wouldn't even think he had that kind of influence, but he did have that kind of influence. He was very powerful, but he needed validation constantly. You know what I'm saying? He needed to see the smile on people's faces. He needed people to tell things, say things good about him. He needed to be uplifted, to feel like he was okay about himself. That's the downside of being a carpet, is that you don't really see your value. It's hard for you to see your value. All right, so the only way you can really position yourself with this guy, and I hate that, and this is why I don't really like this type of person that much, but the only way you really can position, and to be honest, they usually are good people, but it's just like, to a certain extent, you have to constantly remind them of who they are, because they'll down talk themselves. Even though they're a type of motherfucker who can acquire or achieve great things, they will down talk themselves into believing that they can't do anything. So you would have to initially, let's say this, we try to accomplish a goal when it comes down to playing football. We're playing outside football, and this motherfucker throws 10 passes, 4 of them hit, and it's perfect in my hand. Boom. Next throw, boom. Next throw, Alright, perfectly in my hand. 4 throws, perfectly in my hand. He overthrows it twice, and I couldn't catch it, or because of I couldn't lose my defender. You know, the rest of those times. Right, 4 times. Right? He's gonna be like, nah, man, I'm not a good quarterback. I'm a terrible quarterback. Terrible quarterback. This motherfucker throwing a dead in my hands damn near every single time. The only time I didn't get a chance to catch it, he overthrew it twice. And the last 4 times was because I couldn't lose the defender, or the defender had help. Right? So I couldn't really get the catch. In his mind, he thinks he's not a good quarterback. He's a terrible quarterback in his own eyes. No interceptions. With no interceptions. He thinks he's a terrible quarterback. And this is what I mean, is like, you have to remind them, bro, you just not threw dead into my hand. You know what I'm saying? On you did, you know, threw great passes just now. But they're just so easily compromised to the negativity, and they're so easily put down, that you have to constantly remind them to be better. You have to constantly remind them that they are better than what they're showing, or that they are better than what they think they are. They're doing better than what they think they are, because in their mind, the negativity builds up so high compared to the positivity. It's just like, damn, you know, that it's just bad negative self-talk. So this is the carpet. And the reason why I'm telling y'all this shit, you know, all these characters, is because it's better for you to understand the characters that's in the Matrix than you, and on how you moving around as an authentic individual, rather than you not knowing and you moving around as somebody who you think, you know, you're not really understanding how people move, because you don't want to go at a cage or a snake the same way you would as if you were a chameleon. Because if you try to play power game, if you try to, how I put the chameleon, if you try to just be nice to a snake is going to try to take advantage of you. A snake sees you as gullible, is going to try to take advantage of you. You know what I'm saying? Adam and Eve took advantage of her. Easy. You know what I'm saying? So that's exactly how snakes move. It's their natural thing. So if you try to move like that, it's easy for you to get messed over. Y'all feel me? So I really want y'all to understand that when you looking through these lenses and seeing these characters, bro, you really need to understand who these individuals are and what's best for you to position yourself with them. The reason being is because they are going to try to get some type of advantage of you, even if it's through just perception alone, or through trying to get something from you. But I just not told y'all how to position yourself for each one of these characters. So a snake, you can play it to the game a little bit, but just understand when you stop playing the game, that's when they're gonna follow you. Like, but you have to play it a little bit for them to really get a chance to realize what it's like to really work with you, right? A chameleon, they're naturally gonna follow you. Just be courteous to them, and they're gonna follow you. Be the motherfucker that's gonna tell them the real, and they gonna follow you, just off of you being a motherfucker that see through their mask and follow you. Keep in mind, all this really aligned with me because I know how to connect with people easily. I know how to build connections with people easily. But a carpet, all you have to do is constantly remind them that they are valuable, and they will understand. But just be honest though. Don't lie to any one of these motherfuckers. Be honest. If a carpet has no value, let the motherfuckers know they have no value. Just through that honesty, I'm telling y'all. What's good about them, what's bad about them. That's how you gotta go at a carpet. You gotta tell them good and the bad. But The reason why I'm telling y'all this, man, overall, just so y'all can know how to move. This is a matrix, man. If you understand the individuals around you, you understand the mask that they're wearing. It gives you a better opportunity to understand who it is behind the mask. Now, this is why I always say it's best for us to be a motherfucking, you know, asshole. It's best for us to be called all these fucking names like you evil and all these things, because we the only motherfuckers that really keep it real. We the only motherfuckers that move authentically. People don't understand, right? When you honest and you truthful, and I ain't even saying be an asshole and step on motherfuckers, just off you being truthful, you being the real, just because you know how to play around and joke around the reality of the world. People don't understand that. They laugh. The thing is this: they laugh and they are so attracted to it, but they don't really fully understand it. But they're attracted to it. They cannot ignore it. They can't ignore it. They just don't understand it. They just want to understand it so bad. So it's as funny as it is, man. As funny as it is, and as crazy as this world is, y'all need to understand these individuals, because you might be one. You know what I'm saying? And to break out of that, I already broke down how to break out of it. Most of it is being able to be alone and being able to not really rely on other people for your peace. Rely on yourself entirely for the peace. And understand that you need to constantly be building your self-worth, so you understand you don't need anyone else to accomplish what you want out of life, right? That's the biggest thing I really can give y'all throughout this whole video. One of the biggest. I actually got a self-worth video where I break down how to build up your self-worth. Basically your confidence, basically your ability to always be alone while moving forward towards a goal, or moving your team towards a certain goal, or building up individuals around you to help them, and using it's basically a lot of things that come with that knowledge that I give. You can use it to however way you want to. You feel me? That's just how it goes, man. That's how I like to do it. But this IQ Domino, man, is all I really got for y'all. I'ma see y'all when I see y'all, man.